everyone, and welcome to Meow Mix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And it's another week. Lots of news happening this week. Trade deadline passed. We have a starting quarterback for Sunday, Germany game.
German.
So we're going to talk some German here. Bratwurst, Frankfurter.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Nine. Number 9 is going to be starting for the Panthers this week, so that's good.
Nice segue, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. We've got a lot to talk about today. Honestly, we wanted to go yesterday, and we had some difficulties.
Yeah,
with
family issues. Yeah, family issues. We'll just call it.
But yep. But we're back and happy to be here on a Wednesday or a Thursday, excuse me, to talk some Panthers. So
Woo!
Jerry, I mean,
off a win.
Start here.
Off a win.
Off a win. That's why I'm in such a good mood. Where do you want to start? There's a lot of things we can start at. You want to start with the Mingo trade?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start with the Mingo trade. By far, the best trade the Panthers have made in a long time, in my opinion. They got a 4th round pick out of Jonathan Mingo from the Dallas Cowboys, and honestly, he's so far down the depth chart, and he didn't show anything when he was higher up. I can't blame them for getting something in return and a 4th round pick for a guy who was now below an undrafted rookie free agent. Yeah, bye.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, right, that he didn't work out.
Oh, 100%.
We had high hopes for him. We liked his skill set. He had good size, good speed. But he was one of those guys that he was like a single-year college standout.
And it wasn't even that big
dangerous.
of a standout.
Right. But they liked his skill set, and they weren't the only team, right? I mean, Obviously Dallas liked him. Several teams liked him. But it seemed like the league was kind of split on, was he a 2nd round pick or was he like a 4th or a 5th round pick, right? We even talked about that. I think we originally had him in the 4th round, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to take him in the 4th round. But, it didn't work out. Panthers did recoup the 4th round pick. They sent him and a 7th to Dallas. They got the 4th back. And it could be a high 4th round pick. I mean, Dallas is not a good team.
No.
I don't think Jonathan Mingo moves the needle too much for them in terms of wins and losses.
Honestly, I don't understand it from their perspective.
I don't get it either.
Unless they just really liked him, like their GM, like Jerry Jones just thought. I mean, again, he had a great skill set, but he produced in college because manufactured touches. And
yeah. And Jerry Jones basically said that they had brought him in, pre-draft. They really liked him. Had the Panthers not taken him, they certainly would have, it seems. So yeah, I think it was just Jerry Jones really, really liked him.
Yeah.
And overpaid for him.
Yeah, I mean,
so much. Did you expect to get that?
No.
They could ever get a 4th for?
No, I was expecting like a 6th round pick or something like that. Granted, he was a 2nd round pick last year, but
I thought they were going to just have to cut him. I didn't think they'd get anything for him.
I figured. I mean, he has a lot. He's fast. He's big. He's strong. He just doesn't know how to run routes, and his hands aren't the best.
He can't seem to produce anything at the NFL level. But yeah, I mean, good job by Dan Morgan. Quietly, Dan Morgan, I think, has put together a pretty decent first year. I mean, there's some misses, right? But overall, I would say his first year, if you include draft and everything, is better than what Fitterer did his first year.
Oh,
right?
yes. I definitely look at this draft a lot better than I did Fitterer's drafts. I think overall, just in general, I'm like looking. I mean, I think Leggett has shown promise.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm not all on board, but I do see promise, and he makes me want. I'm trusting him to continue to get better. JT Sanders, I was feeling the same way, and then last week he really blossomed. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Brooks, we haven't seen.
I haven't seen him yet, but
Trevin Wallace has stepped into that starting role. He's not making lightning plays, but I also don't see him missing plays either. Where I'm like, gosh, what are you doing? Like Charles Harris.
Right. And Trevin Wallace was also one of those guys that you expected to need a couple of years before he
Yes.
really came into his own. So the fact that he was kind of pressed into this type of role because of injuries, you have to give him a little bit of grace. But I think he's performed really well.
Yeah, me too. Where he's at, like what we expected and how he's playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think right now that's
Coker,
a good pick. Oh,
right?
yeah, Jalen Coker.
Undrafted free agent. He's blossomed to the extent that they felt perfectly fine sending out Deontay Johnson and sending out Jonathan Mingo. Like there was no hesitation, it seemed, in getting rid of those guys because you have Leggett and Coker. You've got Thielen coming back at some point. He did not get traded. I thought he might, but I think the injury, they probably just didn't get a lot of good offers for him.
Yeah, I assume that was kind of it. I also think that they wanted a veteran in that locker room, not named David Moore, just so they can. I mean, everybody knows Thielen's a great route runner. He's a great. I loved what he said the day of the trade deadline, where he was like, "Hey, I want to stay in Carolina, but I don't have a no trades clause in my contract." I think that's a great way to look at it as a player, or even say if he wanted to be traded, that's still a great thing to say because that.
Yeah.
I mean,
because if you don't get traded, then you don't want to say something to alienate the fans, right? And he still, I think, has another year on his deal, right? Or this isn't his final year?
I think this is. One of us could look it up here.
Either way, once he returns from injury, right, he is an asset to this team and an asset to Bryce or Andy or whoever's starting at quarterback at that time. Like, he is an asset.
I think he's an asset right now, even not playing. I think in that locker room with those guys. And Deontay Johnson, I was not happy with that trade at all. We didn't really get to talk about it. That was just a garbage trade. Like, they desperately... That was a nothing. That you moved up 5 picks. You're biting his salary. But from what I've heard rumor-wise is they wanted him gone. He was...
And it sounded like he wanted to be gone. From what... Again, the things that have come out over the last few days... he wanted to go and they didn't really want him here. So there seemed to be some sort of locker room distraction or, I don't think he was like actively being a bad guy. Right.
Yeah.
But it does seem like there was something that just wasn't fitting. He just wasn't fitting in with this team.
Correct.
So, yeah. So in that sense, getting something for him, it's something, right?
Yeah. Oh no, Adam Thielen's going to be here next year. Only $8 million against the cap. I mean, that's.
I thought but they can cut him and save
$5 million.
Cut him for okay.
But I mean,
he could get cut. It just depends.
Yeah, I would keep him unless his production just drops.
Price, yeah, that's not a bad price for a guy a season off of 1,000 yards, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. Oh, sorry, kind of got lost in that fun little exercise there.
Good discussion. Good discussion.
Should we hit into the main subject?
Well, yeah, let's talk about it. Chuba Hubbard. They extended Chuba today, 4 years, $33 million, $15 million guaranteed. I think it can get up to like 37 with some incentives. But for all intents and purposes, it's a 4-year, $33 million deal with $15 million guaranteed. We don't know the breakdown yet. We don't know, the dead cap after 2 years, which is probably something like $5 or $6 million, I would imagine.
I think
not that much.
My assumption would be it's essentially a 3-year deal, and then the last
two or three.
Yep. Yeah. I think they'll probably
15 is not a lot of guaranteed money.
No. So I think it's going to be cap friendly in a way that the Panthers can get out. I also think it's a great deal in the sense that you have this guy who's been here a few years through this muck and this crud of this team, and he's gotten better every year he's played. This year he's a top 5 running back. He's looked like it. He's the God sent on offense that he keeps the wheels running. They need to use him more, in my opinion. And I think giving him that contract is also a boost to morale in the locker room. I know Some people I don't agree with it, but I think that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, and I'll play devil's advocate here a little bit. When I first saw the numbers, I was not impressed. I thought that's too much money. We just did this with Miles Sanders, um, and we drafted Jonathan Brooks in the second round. Why with all of the deficiencies on this team, why are we spending yet more money on a running back? Then I saw the numbers, right? 15 million guaranteed. I'm assuming after 2 years they could get out of it. I'm assuming, right? And the first couple of years are probably not going to be that big of a cap hit, right? Especially the first year, it's probably going to be very small cap hit. So in that sense, I liked it more, right? And then just kind of thinking about it, talking to you guys about it. Yeah, I mean, Chuba deserves it,
Mm-hmm.
right? He is a good running back. I would not say I'm not. I don't think he is an elite running back,
I wouldn't either.
but I think he is a probably tier two running back in the league, right? I
Yeah.
think he is a guy that can run for 11, 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns on a good team. On this team, he'll get around 1,000 and, 5 or 6. I don't even know how many touchdowns he has right now. It's probably around 5 or 6, but um, he is the bright spark on the offense. Him and Jatavion Sanders really are the two guys lately that have kind of Jatavion lately, but Chuba the whole season has been consistent. That's the one thing with Chuba that I think is elite, right? Is that he is consistent. He
Yeah.
never goes backwards. He always goes forwards. He is fast enough. He's not a burner, but he's fast enough and he's powerful enough. He
Yeah.
is a guy that's going to get you 5 yards every single time he touches the ball and has the potential for more. He's a decent receiver. They don't use him that way. They should.
Get Miles Sanders
Um,
out of there.
get Miles Sanders out of there. And, with Jonathan Brooks coming in, number one, you have the insurance
Mm-hmm.
just in case Chuba gets hurt. Number two, once Brooks is kind of back and healthy, and I'm assuming this probably won't happen until next year, but you could split carries with those guys like they do in Denver or Detroit
Yeah.
with Montgomery and Gibbs, like we used to with D'Angelo and Jonathan Stewart. Like they're going to bring a little bit of a different skill set than each other, but they're complementary enough to where you can put them in any play, and
And
they're
you
going to
can
be
put
able to
them
do
on
it.
this field at the same time.
Right,
They've
right.
been doing that with Sanders and Chuba. The problem is
A bit, yeah.
Sanders is worthless. Like
Sanders is just not good. That he's somebody I thought was going to be traded.
no one wants him.
I
No
I,
one.
I thought they should have taken a seventh. Like they should have taken anything for him. But you're right. Maybe they just didn't get any offers.
With that contract, you're gonna have to eat that contract too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where you're sitting at.
Well, I know he's a guy that we can cut next year, and it's
Oh yeah, he's gone.
It's a decent amount of dead cap, but it's not a lot.
I think this contract kind of proves that Miles Sanders is hitting the road next year.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Which is another reason I like it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but the devil's advocate would be they drafted Jonathan Brooks, right? Next year's draft is also running back heavy. Like they could get a really good running back in like the fourth round next year if they wanted to. They need an edge rusher desperately. They need linebacking help. They need cornerback help. They need safety help. They need offensive line help. I mean, we've seen the depth of the offensive line, luckily, kind of hold up here. But one more guy down, it could be, it
Yeah,
could be in rough shape.
Christensen's going to get paid in the offseason by somebody because he played
I mean,
left tackle and center well this year. And that type of player will get paid because he played well in multiple positions. So I expect him to be gone just because someone's going to pay him to start.
He could very well be. Maybe he's under the radar enough to where we could keep him for a decent amount of money. But that's a guy that I think an argument could be made would be smarter to pay than a running back, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need a wide receiver desperately, a number one wide receiver. Like, unless Leggett or Coker kind of develops into that, I think they will go out and get a wide receiver in the free agency next year. They should.
I don't. I think it has to be draft. Your free agent wide receivers get way overpaid.
It depends, right? Like, if they feel really good about Bryce and they are able to get a really good wide receiver in the first round, then 100% that's the smart way to go, right? First round wide receivers rarely are busts, right? Lately, right? They're
Yeah.
rarely busts. So that would be the way to go. But my point is, like, there are a lot of things this team needs next year and the year after and the year after that. So it is paying a running back, top 10 running back money,
Yeah.
which again isn't a ton, right? They're among the least paid positions in football. But the devil's advocate side would be that money could be better spent elsewhere when
It,
you already have Brooks and you could draft a guy next year. That being said, I don't believe that myself. I think that this was a pretty decent deal, maybe a slight more money than I would have liked to have seen, but he deserves it. And one of the things that you said that I really didn't think about was it's a morale boost for the whole team to see a guy earn it and get it,
yeah.
and to see the Panthers keep a good player.
Yeah. I mean, what do you? You're busting your butt for a team over and over. You've seen so many of them. CMC busted his butt, constantly lose him, and then they ship him off.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Moore, ship him off. Like Brian Burns shipped him off.
Yep.
Like, and that was another thing. Once they decided not to move him in the trade deadline, in my thought, you have to pay him now. Maybe not top tier money, but get him under contract. Because
Chuba, you were saying.
Yes. Sorry. Because you don't want to do the same thing you did with Brian Burns, in the sense that you weren't going to pay him and then you kept him and now he walked away free, basically. I mean, Brian Burns, we got stuff, but it wasn't what he was worth.
Certainly wasn't what we could have gotten for him had they traded him knowing they weren't going to re-sign him, right? Or knowing that they weren't 100% on it, at least. I don't know what Chuba could have brought back in the trade deadline. Again, running backs just aren't valued.
No.
Especially, guys that aren't, even Derrick Henry, his contract he signed is not a ton of money, right?
Nope.
In the grand scheme of things. I mean, you compare it to like a wide receiver, it'd be like a third wide receiver on a team, second wide receiver, third wide receiver on a team. Certainly not a tier one guy like Derrick Henry is. So I don't know what Chuba could have brought back in a trade. I certainly wouldn't have felt like Brian Burns had we just let him walk.
No, not to that extent. But I do think that it would have been dumb not to get something, because obviously this team's not going anywhere fast.
Yeah.
So they are trying to get capital in the draft and stuff like that. But yeah,
two questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
One, let's say Jonathan Brooks had come back 3 weeks ago and looked really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Does Chuba get traded this past week?
I think it depends on the offers that were given.
Let's say a 5th round pick.
I don't.
Which I think is probably the most they could get.
I think a 4th round would have been the most, but yes, I agree. I think
would you have done it for a 4th?
No, I don't think I would.
You would have traded him for a 4th?
No, probably not. Well,
okay.
If Brooks yes. If Brooks had
been looking really good.
Yeah, then
which is probably not going to happen coming off an ACL.
Yes.
Right. It's probably going to be next year before he looks really good. And then number 2. If Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, prior to the draft, knew that Chuba was this good, because they obviously didn't, right? Would they have drafted Jonathan Brooks in the 2nd round?
That I don't know. And I was on here in preseason saying I think my bold prediction was what 1,300 yards for Chuba this season. So I
Yeah,
mean,
something like that. Yeah.
I had a feeling that Chuba was gonna have
Yeah.
a breakout season.
You've been on Chuba for a long time. You liked Chuba when I wasn't a Chuba fan.
Yeah,
Like you've been on Chuba since the beginning.
yeah, he runs well. He
Yeah.
finds the hole. It's just he got a lot bigger this offseason too. He's a lot stronger.
Hmm.
So he runs
Yeah.
better now, in my opinion, than he did last year. But I just had a feeling that this was gonna be it with a better O line.
Yeah. I think had they, let's say like they had extended Chuba in the offseason, right? Like they knew he was the guy. I don't think there's any way that they'd draft Brooks in the second round.
No, I don't either.
But now that we have him, I mean the possibilities are pretty great if Jonathan Brooks can be what he was in college in the NFL. Like it's but the two of those guys together, also being able to catch the ball out of the backfield really opens up your offense a ton. Uh, playing them together, like you said, just gives you a lot of options. I like it. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even realize this. He started only 12 games last year because Sanders got to start. He
Hmm.
almost had 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I think
I
it
mean,
was what 930 something.
yeah,
Like he had a
902.
lot of yards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, okay,
and with receiving, he did have over 1,000 yards, right?
yeah, he did.
Yeah. So
Let me see, 277 or something like that. Yeah,
yeah, so he had close to 1,300 total yards.
yeah. He had five
Yeah.
touchdowns, and he has 5 touchdowns already this year. So
Okay, I thought he was around 5. Yeah, so he might end up with 10 this
yeah,
year, very easily.
they need to use him more, in my opinion. Averaging
Yeah.
5 yards per carry.
Yeah. From what I've seen, it seems like most fans are pretty happy with it. I have seen some that question it, just because again we're paying another running back. We just drafted Jonathan Brooks. Those things that I said earlier, like
And I get that.
I've seen, yeah, I think those are legitimate. But really, when you look at the contract, and I can't wait until Spot Rack puts out the full details, probably tomorrow. When you look at the contract, it's just not that much money.
No,
It's a good team deal for
Yeah.
his skill set. It's a really good deal.
you're getting a top 10 worthy running back for that money, and okay, that's
And we've seen enough now to say that he is a top 10 running back. Like, this isn't lucky what's happened this season and last season. Like, this is a good 16, 17 games last year. If he started and got, the touches, he'd have been well over 1,200 yards, right?
mm-hmm.
And this year, he'll be over 1,200 yards and probably 10 touchdowns. Like, that's top running back production. So, yeah, I think everyone should be happy about this for many reasons.
I agree. Like, just those who don't like it, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I mean, what do we have to cheer for in Carolina?
I mean, like I said, I was one of the ones kind of questioning it at first, but the more I've thought about it, the more I've looked at the deal, I'm there. I get it.
All right.
All
Now
right, what else we got?
Germany.
Germany. Germany. Yeah. Did you look up the line, the betting line, gambling for the children?
Well, gambling for the children will be on hold while you take a deep breath and do injury report. How about that?
Okay. All right. Injury report is, guys, it gets worse every week. It's kind of wild. So I'll go through. See, only 3 DNPs for the Panthers. Ike Ekwonu with an ankle. Adam Thielen, who just is coming back. I think they opened his 21-day return today. It was within the last couple of days. So he's back at practice, but did not practice today. And then Taylor Moton did not practice today just for rest. So in terms of DNP, it's not too bad. So I'm just going to kind of go down the list now. Jadeveon Clowney, DNP yesterday, but full practice today. Yesterday was a rest day, so he's good. Deshaun Williams, DNP yesterday, full practice today, listed as an illness, so he's good. Ashawn Robinson did not practice yesterday, full practice today, rest. Chuba rest yesterday, full practice today. Josie Jewell limited practice today, but still listed as not injury related. So, hopefully he's good. Xavier Woods and J.C. Horn both non-injury related rest. And then Xavier also says shoulder, so he was limited practice. Then you got Jamie Robinson, limited practice. Jonathan Brooks, full practice, 2 days in a row. He will be active.
Yeah.
He will be active this week.
I think he gets a couple snaps. Not a lot.
Maybe 5 carries?
I think that's a very good estimate. I think about 10 snaps, 5 carries would be...
He should completely take Miles Sanders' role, but he won't.
100%.
They're still going to give... I bet they'll split.
Yeah.
I bet they'll split. So, yeah, he's back. Crumity, he's going to play. He's was active this week. So, full practice both days for him. Jordan Fuller, full practice.
Good.
Felipe Franks coming back off a concussion. Full practice, good for the special teams. Tommy Trimble, full practice yesterday, limited practice today. So something happened between yesterday and today.
It's a back injury. Am I?
Spasms or something,
yeah.
maybe, or yeah. Those are kind of tricky. DJ Wanham looks like going to be active this week. Full practice yesterday, full practice today.
Good. Finally, we need him.
Yeah, we desperately need him. I don't even think he's that good, but we desperately need him. Lonnie Johnson, limited practice. And Jatavion Sanders, nope designation yesterday, limited practice today with wrist/ankle.
That worries
What
him.
does that mean? Wrist/ankle.
I
Those are
mean,
2 very different parts of the body. Did he fall and sprain his ankle and hurt his wrist? I mean,
maybe. Let's hope he practice. He could get healthy and play. Hopefully, it was more precautionary.
I hope so, man. Yeah, I hope so. Limited practice is good. At least it's not a DNP. So that's the Panthers. Now we'll go to the Giants real quick. DNPs are Bryce Ford Wheaton with Achilles. I'm guessing he's out. Darius Slayton's in concussion protocol DNPs yesterday and today, and then Chris Hubbard DNP today with an illness. Dexter Lawrence, limited practice, rest.
Yeah.
Greg Van Roten, Graham Gano, Jamie Gillen, Ty Summers, Matthew Adams, Darius Masau, and Jason Pinnock, all limited practice. Graham Gano, right hamstring, limited practice. Has he been kicking for them? I'm not even sure. But
I don't know.
I don't know if he's been injured or not, but I might get to see Graham again this week. All right, so that's the injury reports. Jerry, what about gambling for the children?
Gambling for the children. Any money we make on these bets will go to St. Jude's Hospital. Right now, our pocketbook is up to $106 for the kids. This week, the Panthers are 6.5-point dogs in Germany. The over/under is 40.5. Yeah, but I don't know if I.
Well, let's talk a little bit about why that number is so low. It's because the Giants' defensive line is very, very good.
Yeah,
and their defense overall is not terrible. Panthers' offense is not very good, and our defense is terrible. So, but their offense is not very good. So
I was gonna say their offense is really bad too. So
these are just 2 bad teams playing each other. I think that number might be too low, but I'm not willing to bet on it. Are there any other props that you want to look at?
I am gonna look at the props here. Daniel Jones, 150. Yeah, Daniel. I don't feel trust that. Bryce
What's
Young.
Bryce's number?
Bryce 150 yards is -260. 175 is -125, and 200 is 160. That 175 looks a little tantalizing.
200 is plus 160?
Plus 160.
Interesting. I think they might throw a bit in this game, just because the defensive line is so good for the Giants. Well, their pass rush is really good. I'm not sure how good their run defense is.
Give me 1 second. I can tell you.
Kind of look that up.
I did. I think they were middle of the pack, but I don't remember exactly off the top of my head.
Yeah. Oh man, Giants podcast reached out to us and asked if we wanted to do it, and I meant to respond to them, and I forgot. I'll have to see if I can still reach out to him. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so the -6.5. So full disclosure, the other night I was feeling pretty good, and I put down a kind of sizable bet on the Panthers just to straight up win. Money line. What's the money line now? It was like plus 260 when I bet for the Panthers.
Plus 230.
Plus 230. Okay, so it's come down a little bit.
Yeah, and the Giants have a horrible run defense, giving up 142 yards, 29th in the league. Now, the Panthers are worst in the league, giving up 159, 10 yards more than 31.
And their running back is interesting. We'll to talk about him here in a minute, but well, they do have Brian Burns, so we should have known that they had a bad run defense, right?
Yeah.
Because as good as that guy can be, but pass rushing, he is not a good run defender.
No, not at all.
And we said that when he was here many times.
So with that being said, do we just want to go money line?
Well, I mean, I feel like this is a winnable game, and to get plus 230 on, I think it's like a 50-50 game.
Oh, or you could even go Chuba Hubbard rushing yards. 80 is plus 152.
Ooh.
And they give up 140?
What's 70?
Negative 105.
So it's pretty much even odds for 70. And then plus what? 140?
150.
150. I kind of like that. We could do that. Let's do that. I like that. Do 10 on that?
10? Okay.
Yeah, let's do 10 on that. 10 on 80.
Oh, I got it. Sorry. I have to sign out and sign in with my phone. But yes.
Okay, well, whenever you do that, I would also like to know his rushing receiving combined.
Oh, okay.
Because if you can get you get 90 for plus or even 100 for plus, that might be the way to go.
Rushing receiving. I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah. They usually have that.
Oh, they don't have it for him.
They don't have it for him. Okay.
The only Tyrone Tracy. Yeah.
What's his?
75 is negative 240. 100 is 110. And 125 is 265. Honestly, that's rushing
125
receiving.
Is 265?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Jerry, the Carolina Panthers run defense is not very good. And I feel like you can pass against our linebackers and safeties in the middle of the field.
Do we want to get a little fun? See if I can do a little parlay on both Chuba.
Parlay?
Yeah.
We'll do a little parlay.
Parlay.
Let's look at like Chuba's, maybe Chuba's 70 and maybe 100 for Tracy rushing and receiving. See what that is? I bet that's like plus 180.
Okay, I'm sorry. What'd you say? Plus 100 for Tracy.
Plus 100 for or 100 plus yards for Tracy, and then the 70 rushing for Chuba. I would think that's like plus 180, maybe plus 200.
It is plus 100 and plus minus 105.
Right. So if you parlay them,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you should get, if they can be. They might not be able to.
I don't think you can on this
parlay
one.
Together. Okay. Well, that's fine. I don't know. I kind of want to bet on Chuba, right?
Yeah, Chuba, you get 80 yards for us, buddy.
Yeah.
For the children.
For the children. Okay. Well, we kind of combined our preview.
That's basically
into the betting thing there, which I think is fun. I think we should do that every time. It's a good way to kind of talk about the different players.
Yeah, it really
when
is.
You look at like quarterback numbers and stuff, like that's kind of a fun way to do it. Maybe we'll talk about that. But yeah, I mean, as aforementioned, the Giants pass rushing defense, excuse me. Giants pass rushers versus the Panthers offensive line, I think is kind of the matchup of the game.
And when you say matchup of the game, that's where the Panthers can really lose this thing. if it gets out of hand.
Right. Right. Unfortunately, kind of dealing with this backup field offensive line, you know, they're really going to have to play kind of their best game, I think,
Yeah.
as this unit, this week.
Yeah, because Christensen is playing left tackle, 90% sure of that. Cade Mays is going to be starting again. Luckily, Damian Lewis will be playing, so... And same with Taylor Moton. But, I mean, after
this scheme has just been good. I mean,
it really has been.
Yeah, so the offensive line has just been good. Like, it hasn't mattered who's been in it. They've been able to kind of stand up. They're 8th in the league, I think, for PFF, the offensive line. And then the Giants pass rush is top 10 as well. So that's kind of the matchup, I think, right there. But excited to watch Jonathan Brooks, obviously. I think even if we only see 5 or 6 snaps from him, and we have to remember, right, he is coming off an ACL. And some guys can come back off an ACL and be awesome. And for some guys, it takes more time to be awesome. So let's kind of temper our expectations, but I am excited to see him. I'm glad he's back. And I just kind of hope he stays healthy.
Now, I knew they had a good pass rush. They are number 1 in the league with team sack percentage. They're sacking a quarterback 12% of passing plays.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a big test.
That is impressive. Like, scary impressive. So what I'm trying to say is run the ball. Dave Canales, I want Chuba to get 20-plus runs. I don't care if we're down 13 points. Keep running the ball. At
least touches, right?
Yeah.
Like 25 touches, I think, is a good number for him. Yeah, I agree that, who do you think is going to be? We have at times questioned the effort of Brian Burns.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who's going to give you full effort in this game?
Oh, 100% Brian Burns. I mean, and if he's going against Brady Christensen, sorry, Brady, you've had a good season so far, but I mean...
You guys aren't on the same level when Brian Burns is at his best. I
mean,
it's a thing to see. So they're going to have to figure out some ways to help Brady because Brian is going to be coming. And he's going to be coming hard. There you go.
Phrasing.
For all you guys on YouTube, there you go.
Oh, man. Just sad.
I know. Yeah, like that guy on Arrested Development that doesn't realize what he says when he's saying it. And then everything is weirdly a euphemism. All right, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Brian Burns is actually having his best year as a pro, of course.
Of course. So. He started off slow there, but he is, like, the last, 6 games, he's been really good.
Yeah, I'm afraid he's, like you said, he's going to come 100% on Brady Christensen.
All over.
And I just need Canales to commit to running the ball. He constantly talks about it, but he always goes away, even in close games, and I need him to stop. I heard this complaint from Bucks fans when we hired him, and I was like, they could just... Nope, I see it. I see 100% what their complaints were.
I mean, he's a quarterback guy.
Yeah.
He likes that. But this, Chuba signing does, to me, at least signify he understands how important Chuba is, and maybe that they get to showcase Chuba a little bit after that big deal. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like it.
Any last thoughts on this game? I mean, I just don't fear anybody on their offense. I know we've discussed their running back, Tyrone.
Neighbors, right? I mean, he's the guy.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Neighbors. Yes, you're a beast. The problem is Noodle Armby that's tossing you the ball. I don't fear you because of that.
And Daniel Jones rushing as well. I mean, Daniel Jones he is a rushing quarterback. So that is something that you have to plan for.
Especially with our pass rush doesn't get there. They They don't.
which might work in our favor against a running quarterback. Honestly, like he may just all the run legs will be clogged because nobody's going anywhere. Right?
Can you just say, "Hey, Daniel Jones, pass"?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe that's it.
Like,
Maybe because Tyrone Tracy's a good running back. This is a converted wide receiver playing running back, but he is really, really good in both the run and receiving game. So that's kind of like an Alvin Kamara type skill set from maybe when Alvin Kamara was really good. Like he's been fine this year, but Kamara used to be really electric, and this guy is really electric.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing him, as I really haven't watched any Giants game because, well, they're very similar in Carolina Panthers, where it's hard to watch games. Like you're just, I don't want to watch them like that.
Yeah,
but
I think our wide receiver core overall is better than theirs. Quarterback's kind of the toss up, right? Is Bryce going to continue improving? If he can be better than he was last week, that's a really good sign. Not only for the Panthers tomorrow or Sunday, but for Bryce's future here.
Yeah.
He's getting the chance, right? This is his opportunity now to really show that he can be the guy.
Yeah, and the thing is, he doesn't have to ball out. I don't think anybody's expected 300-400 yards for him, 5 touchdowns. No. Do what you did last week. I mean, just take care of the ball, hit the open receivers, stay calm. I don't twinkle toes Bryce we can't have.
Yeah, but maybe instead of kind of just throwing the ball out of bounds sometimes, give yourself another half a second or even look for a running lane.
Yes.
Try to get some on the ground. Like he's got some shiftiness to him. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's got some shiftiness to him. He can make guys miss. So I would like to see a little more of that.
Me too. I don't know why he hasn't done that in the NFL. I don't know if it was something that
I think they want to keep him alive, right? And he probably feels that too. Like, big guys in the NFL.
There are big guys, but you take what you can get down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
I
plenty of quarterbacks who do that aren't.
I could just
Cam Newton.
I'm just saying, like, if they were not encouraging him not to run, I could understand why, in that sense, right? That's all I'm saying. Yeah. But no, I think Bryce is not a scared guy. I wouldn't say he's scared to run. Like he just doesn't look for it.
No, right? not as much as I want. I mean, that first down last week he ran 9-10 yards. I mean, perfect.
He's got it in him.
That's perfect what I wanted him to do. I mean, the only thing is not take that hit. But I mean, you were going for a first down, and I'm sure that rallied the guys around him when he takes that hit, gets the first down.
Yeah.
Instead of sliding.
I mean, I'd like to see like 35 yards a game from him at rushing. That tells me that he's getting a couple of first downs with his legs, and he's that at least becomes an element of the offense that you have to think about as a defense, right?
So, yeah, because right now all they do is pin their earbacks and come after him because, honestly, after last year, it rattled him so much it carried over to this year. Yeah,
it did. But he looked a little calmer last week.
Yes.
He looked a little more under control. And you hope the offensive line can hold up enough to give him more confidence this week.
Yeah.
But Jerry, we're going to watch the game together.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Everybody, it's a 9:30 kickoff, so grab your Bojangles Cajun filet biscuit.
Cajun fillets and your Simply Orange.
Your Simply Orange. Well, I will be doing a breakfast casserole, some maybe French toast. I haven't decided yet. Some mimosas. Nice. That is typically Panthers.
That's the way to do it.
Panthers morning games. That's what we're doing.
Yep. I'm excited.
Hey, maybe we could even record together.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll bring my laptop.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Maybe. We'll see.
It
We'll
depends
see.
how the game goes and how drunk I am.
Yeah. Well, I've got a barbecue to go to after too, so we'll see. We'll see. But either way, we will hopefully record sometime Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a loss, we may not be recording Sunday, but
Right. Right. That's kind of our strategy from now on, guys.
we're just
And,
like,
and maybe we'll record on a Monday something, sometime as well if we have to. I mean, it just kind of depends when we can get to it.
yeah, it's just after devastating losses, it's so hard to get up to watch or to
Yeah.
record to the point where it's painful.
Yeah. Now, if we reel off a winning streak here, 3-game winning streak, and we lose one after that, maybe we come back after that because it's not as bleak,
Yeah.
right? It's not as depressing.
I think
to
that
talk about.
has been the biggest issue, the lack of any semblance of a professional team. I mean, last week they could have easily lost that game, but I would have felt okay with it. Like losing while you're competing is one thing, but when your team isn't even competing, it's like what am I going to talk about?
Yeah, there have been way more blowout games this year for the Panthers than close games.
Yeah, I mean, coaching got out-coached, players got outplayed. I mean, okay, but there was nothing to hang your hats on.
No, and playing Andy Dalton, like that's not your future. Brooks has not been playing, and just the offenses look terrible. It's just been tough. It's been tough to watch, but we can reel off a couple wins here. Maybe play the next team really close.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we're looking for is honestly improvement.
Yes, give me something to look forward to.
Yeah,
right. Just because I understand this is a lost season, but there are still ways to show me that next year is going to be better.
yeah. I want to see Lee continue to get better. I want to see Coker to continue to get better because he's been a pleasant surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or at least for me, I know some fans were all about him, and they were right. He should have gotten more looks.
Some of you guys were on top of that, man.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even really know anything about him.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
And
Never heard
usually
of it.
I'm the one who jumps on an undrafted
Mm-hmm.
receiver, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I did. He didn't jump out.
I remember when we did that podcast and we talked about the guys that they signed. People in the comments were like, "Coker is gonna be good."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, whatever. Like we hear this every Demir Bird every single
Hey,
year was
you shut your mouth about Demir Bird. Look at that man's career as an undrafted free agent. Okay, that dude had a career.
Sure. Yeah, he's I think he's still playing somewhere, maybe on a practice squad. But
10, 15 years in the league? Yeah.
no, it hasn't been that long.
No, not that long. It's probably been like 10.
It's been like 4
He is
years.
currently with the Buffalo Bills, 31 years
Okay,
old.
that's right. Yeah.
Good for him.
This is like what his 6th year in the league, 7th year in the league.
Oh, no. I think it's definitely longer than that.
You say he's 31.
Yeah. 16,
20.
17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, I mean, this is 7th season, so.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. He's had a career.
Like, yeah, solid career. You last that long, you deserve some props, man.
Yeah. That's a career. Good job, Demir Bird.
Now I'm kind of
All right, great. What a great way to finish the podcast.
talking about a Buffalo Bills.
A guy that hasn't been on the team in 3 years.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMixPodcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. And if you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
We will hopefully be back Sunday to talk about a Carolina Panthers victory. If not, likely we'll be back Wednesday or Thursday of next week to talk about the game and talk about what's next. So, which I think is a bye week, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I think we go into a bye.
Yep. So bye week next week. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see when we come back. But That's true. Yeah, we may not do a show next week.
Unless something fun. Maybe we'll come up with something fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a live show like Panthers questions or something.
Oh yeah. Let us know in the comments if you guys are still listening. If it's something that you might be interested in. It's like a call-in show.
Yeah, that would be fun. All right.
Yeah. So until then, stay safe out there and keep pounding.